This week's next question comes from DJ Pookie 2000. DJ Pookie. Love that name. My kids were born in 2000. I've been reading a lot about Japanese game companies bleeding money. Sony, Nintendo, Capcom all reported huge losses. Are any of them in danger of closing or being bought out? What do you think they need to succeed? Sony, no danger. Nintendo, no danger. Capcom, I don't know. I don't think Capcom is in danger of closing. Being bought out, maybe, because Capcom is a pure play publisher and they have pretty good assets. I mean, you guys all know their properties. But Resident Evil and Street Fighter, they're two big brands. Those brands are worth a ton. There's probably 10 others if I think really hard about Capcom. Dark Void. But you know, Capcom maybe because they're pure play, so I could see somebody buying them if they were in trouble, and I don't cover them, so I don't know if they are. Sony, too big. They're a manufacturing company. They make TVs, they make phones, they make stereo systems, they make movies, they make games, of course, and game consoles. Nintendo, no prayer because they have a ton of cash. At their current rate of losses, this past fiscal year, they can probably keep chugging along for 5 more years and lose money before they actually are in danger of running out of cash. It's pretty sad because they are kind of wasting away the cash that they generated from the phenomenal sales of the Wii. But no, none of them in danger of closing or being bought out. Maybe Capcom, not the other guys. What do they need to do to succeed? They need to create products that consumers want. And that's a pretty simple concept to understand. It's hard to execute. I think you take a look at Sony. Sony's a great example, and I'm not talking about games. Look at Sony. They were the first guys to make a portable music player. It's called the Walkman, 1979. Remember those things? How is it that they lost the portable music player market to Apple? And the answer is Apple gave us something we want, and Sony stopped doing that, at least on the portable music player side. I don't think Sony did a bad job on TVs, but everybody else caught up with them. So Sony TVs are great, but so are everybody else's. I don't think Sony did a bad job with consoles. I mean, the PS3 is great, but Microsoft caught up with them, and now maybe the Wii U is going to catch up with them. Clearly on the handheld, gaming side, Nintendo had a head start. Sony's playing catch up. They probably have the slickest gaming device, out there right now, but the market's smaller because people have smartphones and play games on smartphones and tablets. So what do they need to do to succeed? They need to get their products right and figure out what customers want. What I love about Apple that's different from Sony and Nintendo and Capcom, Apple doesn't wait for customers to tell it what they need. Apple decides what you need and then convinces you actually need one. That's the iPad. I can't imagine anybody 10 years ago was thinking, I'm jonesing for a tablet. I need one. I got to go get a tablet. But now everybody's got one. I shouldn't say that. Everybody who's wealthy's got one or two or three. And pretty soon, everybody who's not wealthy is going to have one or two or three. They're pretty slick once you touch one. So Apple's a brilliant company because they figure out how to convince you to get what you need, what you don't need, but they make you want it. That would be great if any of these companies could do that. All right. Eyes bleed, no sleep. What is your opinion on game companies that put DLC content on their disc just so gamers can unlock them later at a set price? Are they doing this because game production is at a high cost, therefore not to price their games at $100, or is it just plain greed? Yeah, it's just plain greed. I mean, the answer is that simple. I think that DLC has been so successful that publishers are trying to get a jump start, and if you put it on the disc, it allows them to unlock it when they feel like it. A few years ago, we didn't see DLC for typically 6 months after a game launch, and I think it was Red Dead Redemption, but Take-Two kind of pioneered and launched DLC like a month after the launch of the original title, and it was super successful. Now you're seeing a lot more guys do it. I think it's really rare when you see DLC delayed. I believe Battlefield 3, we didn't get DLC. I'm not even sure if we've gotten it yet. So some guys get it right. Some guys take a long time to get it out. Putting it on the disc allows the publisher to determine the optimal moment to launch it. All DLC is greed. Okay, games are getting shorter. DLC is keeping people engaged. It's a profit deal. I actually don't think it makes much difference how it's delivered. The stuff on the disc, obviously some gamers feel they're entitled to because they bought the disc, so they should have a right to anything that's on that disc. And that's a dicey one. You actually do own the disc, and I think theoretically if you could crack the code on the DLC, you probably would be allowed to access it without paying. And I'm not even sure that's stealing because you did in fact buy the disc. So that's about as close as you can get to legal piracy. But I think it's not going to be that common. I think gamers are going to push back on that with the publishers and say, if the content was done when you launched the game, why don't you give it to us right then? So I don't think that gets more common. Our next question comes from Idelporte. With so many games available for the iPhone that could benefit from a real gamepad, why haven't we seen an official gamepad attachment for the iPhone? Seems like a lost opportunity to add value to the iPhone. All right, read the book called Steve Jobs. The subtitle might as well have been No Buttons. That's why. Apple's not putting buttons on an iPhone, and so the answer to your question, official gamepad attachment, Apple won't endorse it. They don't want buttons. They want to keep it simple. Rohan will put up a graphic. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Apple figured this out a long time ago. Other guys are starting to emulate now. You're not getting an official gamepad attachment for an iPhone. Not happening. If you want it for a tablet, there's something called the Razer gaming tablet. Buy that. It's not an attachment. It's built right in. Pretty slick. But it limits the market. Only gamers are going to buy it. I don't know how many of you guys have Xbox 360s or PS3s at home. They each have remotes to operate the Blu-ray player or to operate Netflix or whatever. That's because there are people in the household, in my case, my wife, who will not touch a controller. It scares the crap out of them. The first time we watched Netflix, we didn't have the little remote control for the Xbox because we didn't need it. And my wife accidentally just breathed on the Xbox controller and the thing started rewinding. And I don't even know what button she pushed. I think it was like left trigger number 2. And it just starts backing up. And I didn't know how to stop it. You need a remote for stuff like that. Controllers are complicated. You guys probably do know that because you probably play on controllers. So the answer is no. iPhone, simple. iPod, simple. No controller. All right, fellow babies. If you have a question for me, please submit them at the link below or directly to me on Twitter at Michael Pachter. If you follow me, I will answer them directly. If you don't follow me, I won't answer them. And if you have a question for the show, at Michael Pachter on Twitter, and copy at Rohan Likes Pants because Rohan picks all the questions. My kids asked me the difference between a Republican and a Democrat, and I said, it's pretty simple. Republicans care about themselves, and Democrats care about other people. That's kind of it, and that's why I'm a Democrat. So there. I know you guys think I'm a greedy bastard. I am a greedy bastard, but I'm still a Democrat.